Hey, friends, welcome back to another episode of Show Me the Collectibles. I'm your host, Cranderq, aka my real name. Now, you may recognize me from another podcast that we call Friends of the Squared Circle. Yes, I have two shows. I'm super popular, but without being popular, we have to mention our most viewed episode with Randy. We have to talk about Randy. Even though we don't like that episode, we still have to talk about Randy because he got the highest views. Today, we have Oscar Figz with us today. As I always say, I am excited for this episode because it's a new collection to explore. And I hope you're ready because this is a beautiful collection. Oscar, how are you doing today?
I am good. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I am doing great. As I said, I've been on the road today. It was a great weekend, successful weekend. And the only way I know to relax is to jump into another episode of recording because I'm crazy. This is taking off. It may not seem like that to other people, but it seems like I'm starting to get a small following and people want to come on and show off their collectibles. And that's why you're here. So
that's right. Awesome.
Perfect. We'll definitely have to get you on an episode of Friends of the Squared Circle. Barring that you do enjoy this episode, so we can keep you around longer. But do you want to show off that first collectible for us?
Oh yeah. So first up,
Perfect.
Is the Legends. I got the signed Legends Diamond Dallas Page. This was the first figure I ever got autographed. I got it autographed at MAW Grand Slam 3.
Very nice.
With Kayfabe Toys, and I worked the table with them, so that was a lot of fun to get to meet Diamond Dallas Page. I got a steal on this. I got it for $25 at an auction.
Very nice. Now, when you met DDP, were you a fan of him in WCW, or was it that you had the figure and wanted to get it signed?
I was a fan of him in WCW, so when I heard he was going to be at the show, I sought out the figure.
Very nice. Yeah, I know I gave him some stickers and a little 4x4. Probably caught him off guard, kind of like I did you guys when I saw you at the MAW show. And he just was like, oh, thanks, man. I mean, what they do with those things, I'm not quite sure. They give them to someone else. They throw them away. But that's my way of thanking them and trying to promote the little shows that I have. So,
yeah, I think that's awesome.
Did he come over to your guys' table and look at any of the figs? I know he had a line 3 miles long pretty much the whole night. So
he had to have been slammed the whole night. That line was out the door all night long.
Yeah, I've never seen one that crazy. Side note, and then we'll get into more collectibles here. Teddy Long was sitting next to us, and that's my first vendor table I had ever done, was at that show. And I happened to have like candy and some tumblers that he thought was pretty cool, and he came over and was talking to us. But all night he just kept coming back and stealing candy while his line was going. And that is probably my new wrestling favorite story, is hanging out with Teddy Long all night. Him coming over, critiquing the wrestlers, coming to steal candy. And before he left, this is my little subtle brag, he said, good luck on the podcast, kid. Gave me a fist bump, and I did a little happy dance when he walked away. So Teddy Long is now my new favorite wrestling memory. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I remember.
We'll get right back to you. You are the star here. I know I'm talking a lot again, as I always do. Again, that's a great host, right? We can keep going with the collectibles. I'm sorry.
No problem. So next up, I got the Super 7 series.
Oh, okay.
Will Ospreay.
Oh.
This when it re-released on Ringside Collectables, I made sure that I was able to get one right away. And then
there's a nice box art too. I like that.
Yeah, the box is super nice on this. I mainly stick around the WWE side of collecting, but it's up that one. He's so talented.
Yeah. Him and Ricochet had a burner of a match, that's for sure. A banger of a match. And I've seen it a couple times, and holy cow, like those two just have that chemistry in the ring and deliver every time. So
yeah, they're great.
I know he's been calling, I think, he's been calling out Kenny Omega on Twitter lately.
Yep.
And I think he had some words with Seth Rollins too. So it would be kind of cool to see him in the big company. But, as we say, a lot of them don't need the big companies anymore to succeed. I mean, he's killing it over in New Japan, and they don't necessarily have to jump ship because they're being successful in other places. So, are you more a New Japan guy when it comes to actual wrestling on TV, or do you strictly stay to the WWE? I know you mentioned that kind of with the Figz and stuff. So,
I pretty much strictly stick with WWE.
oh, okay, gotcha.
I mix a little bit of AEW.
Okay. Yeah, I'm more of an indie guy myself because I like to get in there, talk trash, get yelled at, get sprayed with water, all that jazz. They rip up my signs. I like the independents a lot more. It's more personal, I feel, and then I get to see some stars of today and yesteryears that come through. Just like when we talked about DDP. Holy cow, Randy's gonna eat me alive for how bad I'm stumbling today. So. All right, back to you. Sorry.
All right. This is a figure. Since I started collecting, I was looking for it, and I was finally able to get a mock. Series 10 Kane. It's one I even sought after. I collected. I collected and had a ton that I would play with as a kid, and it was the one I was never able to get.
Gotcha.
So what's better than having it 15 years later?
Yeah. And you got an opportunity to get that one signed too. So that's pretty sweet as well. So
at MAW show.
Now, did you prefer him with or without the mask? Because I liked him without the mask, I think, a little bit more. So
I grew up with him without the mask, but I enjoy watching Kane's work when he had his mask. Or the original.
I know like his historic career, tagging with The Undertaker. The Brothers of Destruction were just such a dominant force. Were you a fan of the movie? Just a sidebar it a little bit. That See No Evil. I enjoyed those movies. So
I've never seen See No Evil or See No Evil.
Okay, gotcha. And I think randomly I picked up. It was on eBay, super cheap. I think I showed off on a previous episode of a book of the movie signed by Kane that just happened to fall for like $10 on eBay. I was like, well, I'm gonna snatch that up.
Oh, yeah.
So I can use that for trade ski or leverage to get something else that I need down the line. So.
Yep, that's for sure.
Yep. And then keep going with the collectibles. So I'm just trying not to cut you off today. I know I'm a very, very chatty Cathy here. So.
Yep. So next I got the Hall of Champions signed Billy Gunn.
Oh.
This signed just recently at MAW Supercard 3.
Okay.
Sought after that one. Actually, funny story with that one. So Kayfabe Toys had posted on his story that he was looking for one, and I had just bought it maybe 10 minutes before I saw his post.
Yeah, he probably super jealous that you got that, and now that you have it signed. So
yeah, we had a good.
Yeah, I know. I got to meet him a few times. Once at Heavy on Wrestling, as well as in Chicago at the Comic-Con, and both times I shook his hand. I mean, I literally felt like he was going to break my hand. He is an incredibly strong man. In the previous episode of Friends of the Squared Circle, the Draft Bros, Jared actually drafted him up in the upper top 5 of champions who never won the big one. So I want to get your take. Could you see him as a world champion in WWE?
I love Billy Gunn, but I don't think I could have saw him as a world champion.
All right. We've been taking pop shots at Jared all week. I respect the pick, but I felt like it was so early because I think it was like 3 or 4. I'd have to, look back at my notes, go through the future or previous episodes. But I mean, I could see him as a champion, but I just don't see him beating a bunch of the other guys that they had drafted. So when he watches this episode, I'm going to get a text, you son of a bitch, so. We always got to go back to those old episodes. Draft Bros is possibly becoming its own little series. We'll see what they're going to do with it. But yeah, it's just where they just draft random things, wrestling themed on here. They might even do other ones outside of this. So you'll have to check that out. So
yeah, I love that. So then I got next up the Classic Superstars, 1 out of 3,000, black and gray, Billy Graham. This was one of the first figures I added to my collection. I started collecting last June.
Okay.
and I just saw it. I didn't really go in certain directions like I do now with
Okay.
what I'm thinking. I just saw it and I was like, a black and white figure. I've never seen that before. I gotta grab that. Had it ever
Yeah, I
seen?
was just gonna say that I've never seen anything like that. That is very unique, and like you said, one of 3,000, so that's even cooler. I know when they do these chase Funkos and stuff, like you think it's rare, but then you see like 100 of them sitting on the shelf because no one's buying it. So
Yep, that's another thing I think about with like the original run that they did with Legends on
mhm.
for the elites. You look back and like the Kerry Von Erich, which I have, goes for like 250 now.
Oh wow,
There are people have stickers on them that say that when they bought them because they were on sale because no one was buying them, like
hmm,
six.
that's insane.
That
And we
blows.
always talk about like the market, like how um, people will buy it off the shelf for 10 to 15 bucks, but then as soon as you go online to look for it, it's almost double and now triple the um, the, the asking price at the stores.
Yep.
Um, and I know that's also the same with other things because, like on TikTok, you see a lot of these people who are going to stores and getting items and flipping them and then throwing them on there. And now it's kind of like messing with the market in a sense, but
Yep.
uh, when you can easily get something for $10 and the next thing you know it's $50, it's just outrageous to me. So, and I'm very cheap and frugal when it comes to that stuff. So,
Yeah, I'm definitely go back and forth on prices a lot.
yeah, I mean, I put them in my cart, then I look at the shipping, and it just feels like another $10 for shipping. I'll wait, or if they have the best offer, I'll usually try to cut the shipping in half. Like when I bought the Bella's autobiography was signed. I missed out on the website that I go to, where it's usually like 35 bucks, and
Yep.
said person had wanted it for like 50, and I was like, well, your shipping cost is almost 20 bucks for a book, and I'm not very smart, but it shouldn't cost you $20 to send me a book unless it's overnight. So I had asked for like $10 off, and luckily he agreed. So premiercollectibles.com if you're into like biographies, and they have other stuff on there, but they have a lot of signed biographies by celebrities and wrestlers. That's usually where I find mine. So, and if you want, like, I believe in a President Obama one, it's almost like $2,000 on there, which is crazy to think you could have an actual autograph of the president. So, not to get into politics on here, people. Calm down, Randy. Calm down. So, any more figs you want to show off, or any other collectibles?
One more collectible. I got this autographed Mr.
Oh,
Sacco.
that's so awesome. That's
Pro
so awesome.
ran a limited time sale a few months ago. I think it was 1 in 300. It also came with the certificate of authenticity signed by Mick Foley.
Very nice.
I got that. I think it was 1 out of 300.
Oh, okay.
Swooped right in there and grabbed that Sacco.
Yeah. I love Mick Foley. I love the different faces of Foley. It kind of gives me just nostalgia. I was a huge Mankind fan when he first came out. But everything he's done has been pretty great. For especially being a bigger guy back then who wasn't very in shape,
Yep.
but like being in ring shape is a different, you know, ball game itself or animal itself. But I know like he got chastised by Flair. But I honestly, Mick Foley is a little bit better wrestler than Flair. I feel Chad's gonna love when I make this comment because every Flair match is the same. It's just in a different order. But Mick Foley definitely genuine, awesome. The faces of Foley. Did you have a favorite face of Foley?
I was a Cactus Jack guy.
Oh, okay. Okay. I can respect that one. I haven't heard too many Dude Love fans out there, but, it's still kind of a fun little gimmick that he did. So,
Yep.
so you mentioned earlier, too, that you worked for Kayfabe Toys. You want to give us a little backstory how that started?
Yeah, so when I first started collecting, he was the first outside of Ringside Collectibles, he was the first person I bought figures from.
Okay.
I saw on his Instagram that he was going to a show, and I was like, oh, I live like 20 minutes away from that show.
Mm-hmm.
So I just hit him up and asked if he needed help, and then almost every show been partners in crime since.
Very good, very good. So with your collection, I noticed a lot were signed, and then you had the one that wasn't signed. When you get them signed, do you buy another one to kind of put out on the shelf, and then you keep the signature locked away, or how do you go about buying it? Because I know if I got something autographed, I would probably buy another one, so that way I could display it, or I could protect the one that is more valuable. How do you go about that?
Yeah, so all the figures I get signed, I put on my wall of figures.
Okay.
And I just don't sell them.
Yeah, I don't plan on selling any of my stuff. The fiance, Randy, take a shot when I pass away. I mean, maybe she'll be on a gold mine, or she'll just have a bunch of junk that she's going to have to throw away. So
yeah, I figured too, like, well, I'm here. These are mine. After that, doesn't matter.
Yep. Yep. And I'm sure if I have kids or anything like that, they'll be like, Mom, don't do it. Or she'll be like, get rid of it however you want. Cause, this would probably be what I leave behind as a legacy, is all my junk. Unless this podcast really, blows up and we can beat Randy in views on a regular basis. But right now we are no Logan Paul or Jake Paul. We are just Crander Q slinging collectibles and talking wrestling. So,
right.
So, before we get you out of here, you just started your collection. What got you into collecting?
Honestly, I came into my room and there was a blank space on the wall, and I didn't like it. And I'm a pro wrestling fan, and I had tons of figures when I was a kid. I know it. Mm-hmm. I'll collect them again.
Gotcha. Yeah, I talk about on like previous episodes how like I used to bury them in the backyard. Me and my buddy, he had a bunch of Ninja Turtles. I had some weird, things that I would collect. We would take food coloring and put it in like an ice cream bucket. It would be like the acid bath in a match. We'd have the sandbox where we'd have bash at the beach. I just got super creative with it, and I'm sure there's other people out there that would do that as well. They're just not, bragging about it as much as I am. Did you have any weird things like that you would do?
When I was a kid, I would, if me and my brother always played together, and if I was playing, I was WWE and he was TNA.
Okay.
And then if we went outside, that was like, we'd pretend that was our tribute to the troops.
Oh, okay. Very nice. Very nice. Oh, you cut off that last part. One more time on that? Sorry.
Just tribute to the troops special show. It'd be like gotcha. Our pay-per-views with all the championship matches.
Yeah, we used to draw like the action figures as well, and then we'd always give them like some type of monster sidekick, or we would draw them a manager, or back in the day when like Jake the Snake would come out with the snake or the bulldog, we would give them something else to come out with.
Yeah.
I know personally myself, I always liked the managers. When I thought about if I ever did anything in the wrestling business, it'd be so cool to be a manager on the outside, yelling at the fans, pulling on the guy's boot. But where I'm at now, I would just like to do ring announcing. I think that would be a lot of fun because I like to throw my voice and talk. But have you ever thought about getting in the wrestling business?
Yeah, I want to be a producer. That's what I'm actually studying for it.
There you go. And the beautiful thing is, by working those, tables and stuff, you never know who you're going to meet. And, you just asked if someone needed help one day, and that got your foot in the door there. So, I mean,
opportunities, you just got to take them.
Yep. And that's where I'm slowly reaching out to, TikTokers. And then when I saw you guys at the table, like, hey, I got this silly podcast. You want to come on? And I know all it did was take a couple conversations, and here we are. So,
yes, sir.
So I do appreciate you coming on. Like I said, we need to get you on Friends of the Squared Circle and then we can deep dive into that wrestling fandom. We can even talk more about the figures on there. But I enjoy the collection. Hopefully you had fun. We get you on more of these and do more theme type ones for sure. So is there anything you want to plug before we get you out of here?
Yeah, I'll plug my Instagram. It's at Oscarz Figz. No space.
Perfect. No space. Gotcha. And we'll get links from you that we can post in the comments when this drops. Hopefully we get some traffic your way, and then continue to build this relationship and keep talking collectibles. So
awesome.
All righty. Well, we'll get you to the lounge. Don't leave. Like I said off camera earlier, that way you don't think I'm just booting you out of here. We'll plug those sponsors and we'll chat in a couple seconds here. So
awesome. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate you coming on. Thank you, Oscar.
Yep,
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as you've seen, another episode of Show Me the Collectibles. If you are a collector and you want to come off to show off those collectibles, hit us up on Facebook at Friends of the Squared Circle, as well as Instagram. We're kind of pushing the YouTube and Facebook mainly, but we are on some other socials, which we'll show at the end of the episode here. But again, if you want to show off your collectibles, it doesn't have to be wrestling related. We just want to see what you're collecting. We've had Shrek Army on, we've had Mr. Marvel guy, we've had Articulation Station, we've had Toys on My Table. Huge shout out to Hambone with the Ego Drip podcast as well. We are just forming a small little banner here, trying to work with these guys as much as possible. Check us out on all those socials as well. Much appreciated if you give us a like, follow, and a subscribe. But it's time for those sponsors here at Friends of the Square Circle / Show Me the Collectibles. We got Darren Corbin there. You can follow Darren Corbin on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. Yes, Darren Corbin is on TikTok. He is so close to 1,000 likes and follows. You should go like and follow him there so he can go live, so we can get more content from Darren Corbin. Great way to support Darren is at patreon.com/Darren Corbin, where tiers just start at $1. Huge shout out to Superior Creations for all your custom tumbler needs. You can see Rikishi, Hornswoggle, The System, Rampage, Santana, Joey, and Sierra. All of their custom tumblers provided by SuperiorCreations.com. Superior Creations MN on Facebook there. Give them a like and follow as well. And then we have to plug the Second Rate podcast here in the Midwest, featuring Leroy, Zach, and Jesse. 13 cards, subject to change. Give them a like and follow on all social medias, and make sure to comment second place beard for Leroy, because we love to antagonize them. Last but not least, here are our socials. Give us a like on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and again, we're pushing the Facebook and YouTube. Another great way to support me here so I can continue to do more content now. Things are starting to get rolling. It's crazy. friendsofthesquaredcircle.org for your t-shirt and sweatshirt needs. More designs coming, and more logos. So something to look forward to there. Yeah, that's our episode. Thank you for hanging out, showing off those collectibles. Crander Q out.